It's Jared from Strongroots Farm. It's another Farm Tech Friday, and today we're going to focus on metal fabrication tools. Kind of a different style of video. We have multiple items today, including what I think is the most budget-friendly welder on the market. It's all coming up today. Stick around. We're going to go through everything. Welcome back. Thanks for joining us. Farm fabrication, building stuff, welding stuff, putting stuff together on a farm. It's very important, it's very useful, and it needs to be cost effective. So today, all of the equipment that I'm going to show you, which is not very much, is what I've used to build stuff around here, including my chicken coop, my mobile pig pen, our shade structure. It's all been built with limited cost-effective tools. So just so you're aware, I don't have a ton of fabrication equipment. So I have the welder, I have a little plasma cutter, I have a lot of angle grinders and things like that, but I don't have a lathe, I don't have a mill, I don't have any kind of drill press. I do have a welding table, but with minimal equipment, some clamps, a welder, and those type of things, you can build stuff on your small farmer homestead. But today, we're going to talk about specifically these fabrication tools, and I have found some good ones. So to get started, we're going to talk about cutting wheels. So everything that we go over today, I will have links to them down in the description, and I have tested them for quite a while. I have had the welder and all this stuff for over 2 years now. But as we go to these Mido cutting wheels, I have been through 4 or 5 different brands, starting with a name brand, on Amazon, and they work, they cut well, they're all about the same as far as getting the job done, but you can really tell quality when it comes to how fast they disappear. So these Mido, these are the best that I have found. They last the longest. They cut through harder steel than some of the other brands that I've had, and they are very cost effective. I buy these in a 30 pack. I've gone through 5 or 6 stacks of different kinds of blades over the last 4 to 5 years. And so these are the best, links in the description. And to get to the main item, which you're probably all here for, this is my Yes Welder 250 Pro. Links down in the description. I will go over this and show you some things as it's plugged in, show you some features that I really like. But this has been the best welder that I have ever seen cost-effective wise. So to give you some background, I started welding when I was 7. My grandfather taught me. My uncle was a production welder, but I am not a professional welder. I am not a production welder. I don't weld every day. So if I was going to weld every day, I would be buying a Miller-Matic. And I will tell you, if you have unlimited funds, that's probably what you should buy. Miller makes a fantastic welder. But I was on a budget, and I needed something to weld stuff around my farm that I could use once a month, once a quarter, you know, when I needed it to weld the things that I needed, and this is what I've come to, and it is very good. Okay, so I just want to show you some basic features. It's a standard MIG welder with your ground clamp, your reel, all the different things. I think it has an 8-foot wand on there. All the hookups came with it, but one thing that this has that is really good for a beginner is this setting. So it's an automatic feed setting. You set the number to the thickness, and they give you a guide. You will learn how to tweak it in, but they say if it's this thickness, this material, set it to this number, and that gives you a good starting point. It auto sets the wattage along with the feed speed. So on some welders, you're gonna have to tweak that in yourself, and I've gotten good at that, but this has almost made me a dummy. It's so easy. You just set the number, it works really well, and it's really effective. You're not burning in enough, you turn it up a little. You're burning through, you turn it back a little. Very simple for a beginner welder. So I'm not gonna take you through all of the manual. There are specific videos about this welder. In fact, the company has videos on this welder. And they're very good, they explain everything. The manual was very good, even though it's a Chinese style of welder. I got turned on to this by the DOD. So the DOD, who uses Miller, was trying to test out some cheaper welders to use when they were out in other countries. They found this welder. I have a friend who works for the DOD. He suggested this, I bought it, and I've never regretted it 1 minute. Now, I wanna let you know, you're gonna buy a welder. If you're new to this, so if newbies, you buy the welder, it's not done yet. Your price isn't done. So when you buy a welder like this, I use an argon mixed gas. You can use flux and some other things, but I prefer the gas mix. It works really well. I suggest you buy a cart. I will put a link to one, but Harbor Freight has some really good carts. Harbor Freight is where I buy all of my clamps, those type of things. You're gonna need a wire brush. It's good to have a wire cutter there, a welder's wire cutter. You're gonna need a mask, and you're gonna need to find a gas supply store, a welding supply store where I actually rent the tank. They fill it. So you have to buy the first one and you have to buy a gauge to hook it up. After that, they swap it for me, kind of like your propane tanks on your grill. The other thing you're gonna need is a good welding jacket. This is not a good one, okay? So this is a cheap welding jacket. You can find these for 15 to 20 bucks, but I throw it on, it just keeps stuff from getting on me. If you're gonna weld as a production welder or weld underneath something all day, there are better welding jackets, and you're definitely gonna need some gloves, okay? So I like my full leather gloves, I like longer gloves, but you're gonna learn what works for you. There you go, so there is all the stuff there. I also bought the Yes Welder mask. And so I got 2 or 3 different masks around here. I don't have a papper. If you don't know what that is, that's where air is blowed in when you're welding. That would be super nice. They're very expensive. We're in a big shop. I don't weld all the time. I can lift the door up. I get plenty of ventilation. But I bought this Yes Welder mask. It is also my favorite mask now. It cups my head the best. It flips down easy, but it stays up when I want it up. And it's an auto flash. So if you're not as good as flipping it down and getting on the right spot, this will help you with that. Well, there you have it. These are quick videos to go over that. I suggest this model for you. This is what I use on my farm. You will be amazed at the amount of stuff you can fix and build if you start tinkering with this. If you're a newbie and you say, I don't know, I've never been welding, you can watch videos, you can practice, get you some sheets of metal and just make some beads on it and learn to weld. It is a task and a skill that you can have on your farm or homestead that really improves your ability to fix things, okay? Or build things for that matter. You can also do aluminum. It does have a spool kit with this. You can do multiple different things. I typically just leave the wire in it and MIG weld all the time. Clamps, you're gonna need some clamps. I get these at Harbor Freight, so I'm not gonna post a link to these, but these are the Bremen from Harbor Freight. And so I buy a bunch of clamps there. I recommend you have 4 or 5 of them. And get your wire brushes, you can buy those there. You can buy some a welding mask and welding gloves, all that stuff at Harbor Freight if you want, but I will put all that stuff down in the description. Talk about cutting stuff. I simply use my angle grinder with that cutting wheel, okay? I've done everything with this. I would love to have a mill. I would love to have a drill press. I would love to have a brake to get all this stuff done, but I do a lot of work with that. It's simple, it's cheap. I use it for lots of stuff. I've also ran this with my generator. So I gotta talk about power. It is 220. It does have a converter that you can switch it to 110 if you need that, but I recommend you use 220. And if you're gonna weld on thicker stuff, this will weld up to 5/8, I believe, on 220. It will not weld that thick of stuff on the 110. I think 1/4 inch, maybe even less than that on the 110 there. I've never actually used it on the 110 because I have 220 here in my shop. But cheap stuff like this for $1,000, okay? You're gonna spend only $300 or $400 on this welder now, whatever they've gone up to. But by the time you get all this stuff, you're probably gonna have $1,000 into this. But it is amazing the amount of scrap metal that is out there and amazing the amount of stuff you can build. Well, there you have it. I hope this video helped you. Over time, this will save you money. You can build stuff with it. It is nice to have. This is probably not the first purchase for your shop that I would buy as a homesteader or a small farmer. But if you're a welder, you could have more uses for it, but it is a useful tool. And I really like this budget-friendly production welder. And like I say, you're not gonna be a welder with this if you weld every day. If you're starting a welding shop, you may have this as a little tinker one, but you really need a Miller-Matic. But for a farmer or homestead, this is a great thing to increase the production and fix things all out on your farm. This is your first video. Thanks for joining us. Please like and subscribe if you like this content. We are a farming and homesteading channel. If you haven't figured that out by now, please follow along with us. We're looking to build our YouTube channel there. And we have this every week where we give new tools and new ideas. We also show stuff throughout the week. And spoiler alert, my welder is used in a next video that I'm trying to get through. I'm building a fancy new shop cart. Until next time, thanks for watching.